How you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, sampler video series videos I've been doing for a little while. I'll go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks, I'm going to talk about the stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that, tell them I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. I'm so happy I got in a good snap. It's been a little bit, yeah, I'm getting it. I'm getting it back. So, but anyway, folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there and try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm in my back room today, which means I got my Peter Can and Thunderbolt poster back there. Ooh, Peter Can Thunderbolt poster. Whilst I'm doing all that, by the way, I have adorable hamsters in this room. And my adorable little girl, Aisha, just popped her adorable little head out. I'm going to give her a little tiny treat. I would pick her up and show her to you, but Aisha's not the most sociable hamster. She's a very sweet girl. Like, she's entirely too adorable, but she's not the most sociable girl. But anyway, what else am I doing, folks, aside from hamsters and things? I'm wearing a super cool shirt. And folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for you today, folks? What happens to be my, boom, my Sumo Psycho shirt. I really like this shirt. Love the design, just very cool. If you're unfamiliar with the band Sumo Psycho, they are a sort of alternative metal band out of Canada. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I looked into it a little bit afterwards, because I got to see them perform live, this is months ago now, almost a year ago now. And I guess the lead singer was originally like a Canadian pop star, but she went over there and shifted, kind of gears, and I fucking loved their set. Thought they were fantastic. Got to, talk with her a little bit after the show, got a picture with her, very nice. And, yeah, I just think they're super neat. I went over there, I actually thought they were so cool. I went over there, I got some videos of their performance. They're on this channel as well, just in case maybe you want to check them out. If nothing else, I'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction as far as their music goes, because I think they're a really good band. But anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? Well, typically, if I'm in my back room, that means that I was reviewing something that took a little bit more addressing than, the normal stuff that I can just do out in my truck. And that's the case today, because, folks, I'm doing one of my patented Brandon Wenzel Boom Ramen reviews. Specifically, I believe this is a relatively new product from Picantia? Picantia? I'm not sure how to pronounce that properly, so I apologize to everybody. This is their jalapeno chicken flavor, Polo Jalapenos, and it is apparently mild spicy. And yeah, this is one of these kind of like fancier, ramens that have come out recently. Super easy to make though, like just literally, pour the packet in, pour the water in, about 4.5 minutes, you're done. So I went over there, I saw this, I figured, well, I'd review ramen stuff. In fact, I have an entire playlist called Ramen Reviews, where all I do is post ramen reviews. And what with this being a new product, as it were, at least it's new to me, get it in. Now, I will say, the fill line on this seemed to be a bit high, because it really ended up being very soupy. And that can be fine, but yeah, so, but let's get a thing for the thing here. Get a noodle pull. Noodle pull. Oh no, the noodle pull. Ha 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 ha. Let's give it a go. Oh, my adorable little girl. She's so cute. Like I said, I'd love to show her to you, but I could probably pick her up and she'd just squirm around and stuff. She's not always the most holden of hams. Okay. I was hoping for a little bit more, but it's not bad. But, like, the broth actually smelled really good, so I was coming into this, like, being pretty excited. Like, okay, because, like, I've had ramens that are similar to this, like, what is it? The sriracha ramens I really like. Some of the Shin stuff, I really like those. So, like, I'm very for this stuff. I was kind of hoping it was more along those lines. And I don't know, it just... But we're going to keep going with it, obviously. I mean, it's very herby. Like, it's got a lot of, like, seasoning in it. Um, I'll say this. If I were to do this again, and there are other flavors, so I will be doing it again, I don't know that I would go to the fill level. I think I would probably level it off where the noodles are at, maybe a little bit higher, and do it that way, just so that you're getting kind of a higher concentration of flavor in the noodles versus strictly in the broth, because I kind of feel like that's the case. The noodles themselves are fine; they're a good consistency, pretty much standard, instant noodles. And yeah, they're perfectly fine. Um, the seasoning and everything, it does carry over to the noodles to some extent. You do get a little bit of that chicken flavor. You get a tiny bit of the jalapeno flavor. I wish, and obviously I'm going to try some of the broth just by itself, but I wish that the jalapeno flavor transferred better to the noodles themselves, because that's definitely a like one of the better aspects of the overall flavor. Let's try some of the broth just kind of as is. Now there we go. That is actually some pretty good broth. It's got, again, it's got an okay chicken flavor. I wouldn't say it's outstanding or anything, but it's perfectly serviceable. But having that extra hit from the jalapeno, that is definitely a bit of a difference maker. And I can honestly say, I've had plenty of spicy ramens. Um, I don't think I've ever had any of them that have had jalapeno flavoring or even been used really as like a spice, because jalapenos these days not considered to be particularly spicy, and I wouldn't consider this to be particularly spicy. It gives a little bit of a kind of tingle on the tongue, a little bit at the back of the throat, but I wouldn't consider this to be a spicy ramen, especially against like the actual proper like buldak and like the Korean ones and stuff. It's nothing like that. This is definitely one where it's more for flavor than it is for the heat, and that's perfectly fine because I like the flavor of it. Yeah, I mean, I think overall that's pretty solid. Uh, this is definitely one where the biggest reward is going to be that broth for sure, because the broth is just, yeah, that's some really tasty broth. Um, but okay, two questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? Yes and yes. I think for me personally, this is in a lot of ways exactly the type of ramen, like instant ramen, that I really like. I prefer a bigger bowl, something that I can basically just count as a quick meal. Um, I've mentioned plenty of times before. Like I can cook a little bit, enough to feed myself and all that good stuff. But a lot of times it's just the prep work and then the cleanup and shit. It ends up being a whole fucking thing. I eat out a lot. I eat very simple stuff typically when I'm at home, especially if I'm just getting off work or something. I cannot be fucked to go through the process of, making an actual meal. Something like this works really well. And the thing is, though, it needs to deliver on flavor. And although the overall experience is maybe a tad bit underwhelming, for one thing, I personally think they could have upped the heat just a little bit. Because I don't think it needed to be like a super spicy ramen or anything like that, but I think a little extra something would have gone over there and just given a little bit more personality. And I think it would have gone over there, would have helped some of the that flavor transfer, as you're eating the noodles. But overall, still really nice. And again, I've never had a ramen quite like it. So I actually like this a fair amount, and I could see going over there and adding this to my occasional repertoire of of instant ramens that I just have on hand. It wouldn't be like an outright favorite per se, again, like the Shin, the Sriracha ones, even the Tapatio ones. Those are still going to be more my jam, but I do like this one a fair amount. If I'm recommending it, though, and here's the thing, this is where it always becomes a little bit more interesting, because am I recommending it to people like me, or am I recommending it to competent people, like actual adults? Because I am not an adult. I am a barely getting by adult. I just do what I need to do. for better or worse. Worse, definitely worse. But when it comes to like for people like me, this is an easy win because it's tasty. About the only thing that's a little bit works against it a little bit, in my opinion, is the price, especially for being at least again what I'm perceiving as a relatively new-ish item. I would have expected it to be started a little bit lower because I think it was like close to $2 or something like that, or maybe even a little bit over. At least where I went to go get it. If you could get that closer to that dollar range, kind of get people in the door, that would probably be a little bit better. But it's not entirely out of range of what most of these sort of kind of semi-premium ramens do. But otherwise, like I think it's got good flavor. I think that it's simple enough to make. It's real easy. It works for me. But if you're one of those people who, again, is like an actual adult and like you're probably just using these as like an occasional lunch or something, the bigger bowls are probably not always going to be the best suited for that. Plus, even though I wouldn't consider it to really be a spicy ramen, but maybe it's a little bit spicy, for some people. This is one of those ones where it's like, it's not a bad product. Probably wouldn't be bad to have on hand if you like those flavors. But again, if you're just doing the more casual thing, I do think there's other ramens that probably work a little bit better for you. But it's not a bad one anyway. 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your folks. Go over here and have yourselves a truly jalapeno-tastic rest of your life. I feel like jalapenos have sort of been forgotten about. When I was a kid, jalapenos were a big deal still. But then habaneros came around, and eventually the ghost pepper, and then the Carolina Reaper, now Pepper X. It's like, jalapenos, so good. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do can't do it all the time. I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Folks, not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there whenever possible. Take a step back. Try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives. Hopefully, do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, what's your personal opinion on jalapenos? Are they something that you tag in? Are they, again, you kind of consider them a bit blasé, a bit, 1990s? Like I said, I like them, and I like them. I think they bring a nice level of heat that's pretty easy for most people to go with. And on top of that, I like the flavor. I just think, jalapenos have a really good flavor. I remember someone went over there, forget who it was, they were talking about peppers and like heat levels and stuff. And the one guy was like, well, it depends on, it's not just the type of the pepper, it's the individual pepper, which I do believe. I do believe individual peppers can be. But he was like, the spiciest pepper I ever had was, just a jalapeno, and, and it's like, no, dude. No. If you've ever had a ghost pepper, I can promise you the hottest jalapeno don't got shit on that. And that's not even counting the higher up stuff. But anyway,